Evan, hello. I know it's what, 7 a.m. for you, so thank you for joining me this early on. Could you give an introduction about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. My name's Evan. I am a current retail store business owner. And in the last about 10 days, my company did $15,000 in sales. 10,000 of that was to because of me. And I used some of the skills that I learned in the Business Mastery Campus.
Well. Quite an introduction. Let's go with how did you find out about the real world? What actually made you decide to join?
It was actually the short form content on YouTube, honestly. I discovered the Tate Brothers and the real world, I want to say about a year ago, and I was very hesitant at first. I obviously agree with a lot of their points of views and stuff like that. And at some point in my life, I said I needed to do something. I needed to do something to get out of the situation that I'm in. And I saw that it was $50 a month, and I was like, this is a $50 investment. And I've been a member for about a month so far, but I've been an active member for, I want to say, about a week.
Okay. What was that decision to make that switch between passive and active?
So it was just kind of like an aha moment. I looked at my entire situation after watching a lot of their content, and I did a lot of self-reflection, and it was kind of like you need to do something, and you have this little bit that you can put towards investing in yourself and growing as an individual. So that's what really kind of pushed me over the edge, especially because I don't live in the best of conditions, and I want to improve not only my personal life but the life for me and my family.
Right. Interesting. And when you joined Business Mastery Campus, what what lessons did you actually go through, and how did they contribute to your success?
Great question. So the first part, I went through the introduction module, and then I went into the sales module, which is the one I'm focusing on now because my company is a high ticket retail store. So sales is very, very important. And that's the main campus that I've been really putting a lot of my focus into, because the better I get in sales, the more money I'm going to be able to make.
Mhm. And just some insights from the sales course. What kind of things were most insightful, if you can remember?
I'm still going through the course as we speak, but a lot of the things that resonated with me that Professor Arno was mentioning was trying to identify with the customer, always saying yes, and not being too pushy, because the industry that my store is in, it can get, the margins are very, very profitable, but the sales frequency is also limited because it is a luxury mattress company.
Okay, got it.
So not every day somebody wants to walk in and drop a couple $1,000s on a mattress.
Mhm.
And trying to learn that balance and learn if they're the right customer or not is extremely important. That's the probably the biggest lesson I've learned, is instead of going right into the sales part of it, learn about your customer first and then see if they fit for what you're trying to sell them.
Yeah, solid. I don't know how comfortable you are going into this, so feel free to keep confidential. But I'm wondering, is there more to go into on how your situation was before you joined the real world, and how it's changing now, and where you see it heading in future?
Sure. So before the real world, I was a real estate agent, licensed real estate agent in New York City, and I got my license at the worst time when interest rates started rising, and a lot of people pulled out of potential sales that I was involved in, and that put a huge damper on my financial future because that was my original plan, becoming a successful real estate agent. Also, the cost of it, of trying to become a successful real estate agent, I didn't really calculate all that stuff in, so I needed something that was a little bit more passive, something that I didn't have to commit a lot of money all the time and would give me a return sooner. Unfortunately, the way that I live is not the best, and that's the main reason that I joined the real world to try to get myself out of. I want to, as they always say, escape the matrix. And basically, what ended up happening was I got hurt in the military, and I wasn't able to work for quite some time. I went to school for a little bit, used my GI Bill, was very irresponsible with the money, and then I tried to get my real estate license. I got it. It obviously worked out in the short term. I lost my grandmother, went kind of in a spiral downwards mentally, which didn't help with all the stuff that I was going through physically from my time in the military. And then I discovered the real world and the Tate brothers, and I just kept on consuming their content, and they changed my perception and view on life. And when I saw that they had the real world and it was a platform that I could use to better myself, I'm all about self improvement. And I said, you know what? For the cost of $49 a month, $50 a month, why not? It doesn't hurt to take the risk, and the risk paid off.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's super rough then. The past, um, like yeah, all of those things stacking up. Damn. And I'm sure taking care of family is a big burden as well, since you said you have a family. So just all of those things. Again, don't know how much you want to go into this, but in terms of emotional state, were you going into depression? Because I'd imagine a lot of people would in your case.
Yeah, so I had planned on doing a full military career. I had wanted to do as long as I could go in there for them to force me out, which is usually 30 to 35 years for enlisted people. I wanted to basically retire. And when I was forced out due to my injuries, I felt lost. I felt like I had no purpose in life anymore. My one purpose that I dreamed of doing since I was a kid was effectively gone. And it was a hard struggle to kind of combat that, along with thinking about you need to be able to support your family, because when they forced me out, I didn't get any VA disability or anything like that till months down the road, and it took a huge mental and financial strain on my family. And yeah, it's been rough, but I've been doing what I can to keep my head above water,
Mm-hmm.
and so far it's been okay.
Mm-hmm.
The VA did provide me some medications for it. I did speak about it in the general chat in the real world when some people asked me about my time in the military and how it affected me afterwards. And unfortunately, the medicine does affect my ability to produce serotonin and dopamine. So I'm kind of reliant on it now. But I make sure that I'm on top of it because I can see the light at the end of the tunnel ever since I joined the real world and started putting the things that I learned into practice.
Mm-hmm. Then, is there any more to add on the transition there then, on how watching tape content and joining the real world, just how much that has helped?
Yeah, so it all started with obviously the when they first became mainstream. It was the women perspective, and I agreed with a lot of the proper short form content that was being released. None of the like everyone always mentions the short form content without the context, and I'm like, you have to watch the full video. Watch the full video, then you'll understand where he's coming from. And that's what I ended up doing. I saw the short form content. I was like, I need to see what this is about. I need to see what he means. And then it transitioned into the business aspect, and then being a male, being a man, making sure that I'm being the provider that I want to be. And it just, everything that they were saying resonated with me so much. And it was what I really needed to hear at the time to kind of get me out of this rut this down period that I felt I was stuck in. So literally every single day I watch some form of uplifting content for me. And it helps me get through, it helps me stay motivated, but it also keeps me on goal, on target to achieve my goals.
Mm-hmm. And where do you see your trajectory heading then, considering the positive boost you now have? and the results you've been seeing. So let's say in the short term, medium term, long term.
At this point, sky's the limit. Sky is the absolute limit. We have one store that I'm running right now, and we have plans for many, many, many stores. And like I was saying, the sky's the limit. Each store can do anywhere between $30,000 to $80,000 a month. The more I expand, the more I get better at sales, the more that number climbs, and that's what I'm excited for.
Hmm.
Uh, the financial commitment in the beginning for this business was a lot for me given my situation. So I ended up putting myself back through school and using the extra money that I got through the GI Bill to start the investment for this. And then I used the skills that I learned in the Business Mastery Campus to develop my sales skills, and it paid off. Literally, first couple days we were open, no sales, and then finally they started coming in, very very high ticket, and it's all due to that course.
Awesome. And how different would you say the material and resources are within the Business Mastery Campus compared to what you could have found out on the internet?
That's a good question. I want to say it's definitely more personal and definitely more targeted. They have the Business Mastery course has a section for everything, whether you're doing phone sales, whether you're doing email marketing sales, and Professor Arno goes into how to properly conduct yourself as a salesman in all of those different aspects. Whereas if I were to go online, I would just find some generic guide that might not help me in the way that it did. What I liked about Professor Arno is he tried to relate to you, relate to us, and use his life examples as proof to that this system works. What he's saying works, and you don't really see that a lot with other forms of content
Mhm.
that in that regard online.
Uh, okay. And again, not sure if I'm at this point digging too much in the past, but where do you think your life would be had you not found out about the real world?
As hard as this is to say, I probably would have ended up down a rabbit hole where I wouldn't be here anymore.
Fuck.
Yeah. I There were days and days where I said it in the general chat. In the real world, I was sitting there just minding my own business, trying to enjoy watching television, and I would get a chill over my body say, "Grab your car keys, it's time." Just and when I say that, it was literally to drive myself off of a bridge that I live nearby, and it happens more than once. And I didn't have the guidance that I have now that I've been able to consume thanks to the Tate brothers and the real world to keep me on track, to help me remind me that this is not the end. There's always something to look forward to.
Wow.
And that was the most impactful part for me, on top of the brotherhood. The brotherhood, when I served in the Marine Corps, it's amazing. The brotherhood in the real world and how everyone interacts with one another and uplifts one another is second to none. It's better than the Marine Corps in my opinion,
That's a
which
huge
is
statement.
a huge statement. I know a lot of veterans might watch this and they're going to be like, "There's no freaking way." I promise you, there's no one in the Marine Corps. We have it all the time where people are putting each other down. There's no one like that in the real world. We're all trying to lift each other up. We're all trying to make sure we're all becoming successful. And that was one of the things that really keeps me here. And even if I didn't have the $50 to be a member, I would try to find the $50 to be a member just to be able to have that connection with the brotherhood, because it's like I said, it's amazing.
Mhm.
It absolutely is.
Super uplifting, yeah. That's again, was surprised to hear that they even compared to Marines. Because you'd imagine going through all that physicality, intensity, everything would be a bonding experience. But I guess in this case, it's a different way where just the upliftment of it and everyone, I guess they're still motivating each other. So yeah, you do get that kind of aspect of it. Okay, fair enough. And I'm sure your wife has seen changes in you as well, right? Does she know that you joined the real world? And if so, what does she think about
Yeah, so my wife's on the opposite end of the spectrum. with her views on obviously the Tate brothers and everything, because she doesn't absorb the long form content. And as much as I try to force it down her throat, she still decides to walk out of the room and just not pay attention. I'm like, listen, babe, this is some good stuff. Yeah, they might have said something you might not agree with in the past, but that doesn't mean you should discount them completely. Everyone doesn't agree with everyone 100% of the way. At least give them the respect of time and the time of day to learn their full view. But she sees the benefits that the real world has helped me with.
Mm-hmm.
So even though she might not agree with some of their views, as in regards to the Tate brothers, the real world, she has seen that it's motivated me. It's got me back on track to get us out of our really shitty conditions, honestly.
Okay. And since you've been to that place of basically the lowest of the low, then from now, as you say, there's the sky's the limit. Now that you're on a good trajectory, man, even I just listening to you can see that there's so much potential within you. That's why I wanted to ask some more about your past, because I know we'll be doing follow-up interviews and you'll be having huge updates for each one, just because of, again, how everything you've been through now will be fuel for the fire, and as in for the fire within you, and just push you again to a limitless trajectory. So I very much look forward to that. And now I'd like to wrap up this interview with, for people who are unsure about joining the real world, because what if they think it could be a scam? What advice would you have to them?
I would honestly say take the plunge. If you're on the edge, join it. It's going to help you immensely. You're going to learn skills that you never thought you would learn in such a short period of time. That's going to enable you to become financially free and generate passive income in a way you didn't think and at a level you might not have thought. And even if you're on the opposite end where you're saying, no, I don't want to, I would behoove them to watch some of our success stories, the real world success stories, just so that they can see that this ain't a game.
Mhm.
This is real. And if you just understand that it's real and you put in the work, it could be real for you.
All right. Very well said. And Evan, if the people want to find out more about you or contact you, where can they do so?
So on social media, it is at Colon Evan, COLONEVAN. That's my personal Instagram. And if you want to see what I'm doing business wise, resetbeds.com.
Okay. I'll add those to the description of the video, so anyone interested can click on them. And yeah, Evan, thank you for sharing your story. It was quite emotional to listen to. Wow. And as I said, at this point, it'll be mandatory to do follow-ups with you. Okay, you won't be able to say no. There
Absolutely.
won't be an option. So yeah, in
Absolutely. I look
maybe
forward
three
to it.
to 4 months or longer, again, depending on whenever you'll want to do the follow-up, we'll do it then. And again, just to track your progress and document everything. And imagine looking back on this in 5 years, maybe even 10 years, and just seeing how far you've come in that time. That'll be huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it, man. I really am. This is going to be a huge change that I needed in my life, you know?
Mhm.
And it's all due in part to the real world and my business partner. Those two things combined, in addition to the Tate Brothers short form content and long form content, helping me understand the values in life that I need to have, it's it's helped me a lot. It's helped me a lot, especially with my mental health, which is what I struggled with the most.
Mhm. That's amazing to hear. Thank you, Evan.
No, thank you.